Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to round 15 of the F123 Lancia career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend at the team's second home Grand Prix of the season. We're back at the Temple of Speed. It's the Italian GP from the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Of course, if you missed out on the last video that went live at the end of last week, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We've got plenty of things in the works at the moment, a lot of upgrades that are hopefully going to be coming onto the car before the next race out in, I believe, Singapore. Fun fact, it's going to be the first time I've raced on the new Singapore layout in the My Team career mode there. But yeah, championship-wise, we're still in P13 at the moment. Eyeing up P11, you know, around sort of Pierre Gasly. Maybe we can try and get a bit closer to Lance Stroll there. But Charles Leclerc with an 8-point lead in the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari now a 20-point lead over Red Bull in the Constructors. This one is certainly going to be a season-long battle right towards the end of the campaign. But yeah, maybe this weekend, of course, back at our home event, we can try and score some points. It certainly still feels this season that this game is going against me, so get yourself subscribed if you're new, and let's do this thing. Well, looking at the results we had in qualifying from Zandvoort, I don't think Monza is exactly the track that we were expecting to be particularly strong at in this series, and even more of a reason for that is we're meant to see a lot of rain as we move into the Grand Prix tomorrow, so we're running quite a compromised setup here that will hopefully give us the race pace that we're going to need as we head into Sunday's running, but that is going to come at a compromise to our Saturday qualifying pace here. So if we make it out of Q1, again, I'll be very, very happy, but I've said that a lot in recent times, and usually we are still making it into Q2, of course. Aaron Barnes at 26.9 at the end of Sector 1. We are half a second up on that. Come on, Lance Stroll, get out of the way. At least give me a little bit of slipstream if you're going to finally move there as we make our way down in towards the Ascari chicane. There we go. The Canadian giving me a very nice helping hand there as we almost misjudge our rotation. Whoa, into the corner there. Nice wobble as well on the exit. But yeah, Alex Albon then, a 120.3 is the current benchmark as we've just got one more corner to go. Braking, down at the 50. A little bit too late there, snagged the front inside wheel, but at the final corner up towards the start-finish line. Where is that going to put us after the first run? At 20.1, puts us P15 there. We are right on the cusp. Well, the margins are impossibly tight at the moment. About 4 tenths covers 4th, down to about P20 here, so we've got one more lap if we want to try and move ourselves further up the order. Of course, we did get that nice slipstream from Lance Stroll, but certainly a little bit more time to find around the venue. Can we go under 120? Oh, that was so close on the exit of Ascari there, but we're going to lose time all the way down the back straight. Thought that was going to be the lap gone for a brief moment. You can see, yes, Stroll gave me about a tenth of a second on that previous run there, but much tidier on the entry to Ascari, and will carry that speed right the way off the corner. I think, however, our first run was in fact enough, but can we see a good improvement there? Maybe carry some confidence into Q2, just being a bit more gentle with the front brakes there, and you can see we carry an extra couple of tenths at the final corner. Up towards the line, it's going to be a 119, and that is us into Q2. There we go, Mercedes once again looking very, very fast at the top of the timings. Red Bull and Ferrari, though, all still very much in the mix there. The big surprise in Q1, Aston Martin, neither car able to make it into Q2, and less surprisingly, Aaron Barnes will line up at the back of the grid. Well, we've got the opportunity for one big push lap here in Q2. Everyone now down into the 119s, but it looks like the cutoff is about a 19.3 if you want to make it into Q3 here, so not confident we're going to be able to find that kind of time, but we are certainly going to give it our all there. Want to obviously put on a performance for the home crowd. The first time Lancia have raced at home in a Grand Prix in 70 years, let's not forget. little bit of a mistake through the second chicane, and yeah, just not able to carry the speed through Ascari here. I'll be happy if we beat out anyone by the end of this lap. One more corner to go. The best line I've taken through Ascari so far in qualifying, so maybe we'll have recovered a little bit of time there. But up towards the start-finish line then, that's going to be qualifying done here from Italy, and it's P16 on the grid. Oscar Piastri then showing the pace in Q2 there, but just a thousandth of a second between him and George Russell there. But yeah, no real surprises out in Q2. It is the big five teams there of Alpine, McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull that make it through. But it's P16 on the grid for us. But like we said, there is rain inbound for Grand Prix Sunday. Let's get into it. Italian GP time.
A difficult race awaits these drivers here in Monza, but glory awaits too at the Italian Grand Prix. With the rain coming down here at the 3.6-mile Monza circuit, the low drag setups preferred by most teams could cause them some problems in today's Grand Prix. So watch out for cars struggling for grip around the Curva Michele Alboreto. That's the Parabolica to you and me, the last and most demanding of this track's 11 corners. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. It's Sergio Perez on pole today, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Gasly, Ocon, Bottas, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Sargent, Firestarter, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Albon, Joe, Fernando Alonso, and the reserve driver rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once more by Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Firestarter. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
Okay, this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix, which means there's a lot of very important people here behind the scenes. I'd love to give them a strong result to watch today, plus a good result might make my post-race meetings a little bit easier.
Well, I'm not sure why Crofty suddenly decided to throw so much shade at us as we get into the GP today, but yeah, it's looking like a very, very slippery affair from the Temple of Speed. They're 27 laps ahead of us. Could the intermediate be worth it? No, it reckons it is just a tiny bit slower over the stint. But yeah, if we could go long on that first set of tyres there. For those of you that watch my F2 career mode, you might have noticed that we attempted a no-stop strategy in the sprint race there at the weekend, and that ended up working quite well for us. So we'll wait and see as to what happens here today. Well then, ready on the grid for the Italian GP. It's 5 red lights. It's an awfully long hole, but it is lights out, and away we go. They're trying to put the power down in these slippery conditions, as we've done all right. There's someone up in front not doing well. It's George Russell, so we're kind of going to get forced to the inside as we make our way down in towards turn 1. Can we have a look down the inside of a couple of cars? Daniel Ricciardo just, oh no, makes contact with me, and he gets spun off his wheel and just sent back to the rear of the field there. Lucky to gather it up on the exit of turn 1, as it looks like Zhou Guanyu has been another driver with a pretty poor start there, but a nightmare at the start of the GP. We got down the inside of a couple of cars there, as here comes Aaron Barnes trying to have a look for a move on myself in towards the second chicane there, but yeah, just had to go over the curbing to avoid making any major contact with Daniel Ricciardo. I think we were 4 wide heading into turn 1 here. But just as we tried to come back on there, a little squirter throttle from the Australian and front wheel to rear wheel contact just sent us in a little bit of a half spin here. But yeah, the early laps today are going to be so important here. Just trying to build up the confidence in the car and make sure that we are comfortable with what is underneath us here. You know, whether this will be a good track, only time will tell. Monza in the rain usually is actually very good for the AI. But yeah, we need to try and just get focused here, as I believe it's Max Verstappen leading the way as we come towards the end of lap 1. For Red Bull, I'm sure, would love to win a Grand Prix in Ferrari's backyard. There is huge front locking down at the final corner. No, it's Checo Perez who leads the way as we finish the first of 27 laps here from the Temple of Speed. Oh, someone's gone off in front of me there, and we were just getting a little bit worried about what the AI were going to do. As under pressure from Zhou Guanyu, I believe it was Nico Hulkenberg. Yeah, we are really struggling with the locking up here, both front and rear locking, as the car obviously with the less downforce on it that you need at Monza. As here goes Alonso, wall of death style around the outside of Hulkenberg at that final corner. We're just really having to modulate on the middle pedal. Can we try and get a run on Nico as we head back down in towards turn 1? No, here comes Zhou Guanyu, potentially to the inside of myself. They're Alfa Romeo, of course, their home race. And yeah, a little bit of a stutter there meant I kind of felt I had to back out of it down into turn 1 to avoid risking the car. We will stay ahead of Zhou, though, as a cheeky little move back around the outside. That's what I mean about the rear locking. You can just see there. Just snag the rear brakes and it just tips the back end round on you. Trying to move the brake bias around just a little bit in the early laps here, just to find a happy medium. Visibility here in the early laps is absolutely treacherous, but the pace is slowly getting quicker and quicker. I can see cars duking it out just in front still, back down in towards turn 1 there. It looks like Stroll and Fernando Alonso now trying to trade best of the Aston Martins. Yeah, Fernando, really poor qualifying by the Spaniard there. Only half a second quicker than my teammate, as we're going to try and look round the outside of the Curva Grande on Nico Hulkenberg. Will it be a Grande move on the Haas? Well, it will be, but I don't want to run into the back of an Aston. Oh, huge lock up there down into the chicane. And we were lucky that Alonso was down the inside of Stroll, because he had to give room to his teammate there, and that's accidentally a double overtake in this GP. Maybe we can try and stay with Fernando as best as possible over these next few laps, but that was scary. Oh, yellows. Oh, there's been a roadblock. That's a red flag. Easy red flag. Ferrari's gone round. We'll see if we can try and be cheeky with it. Maybe gain a couple of spots for free. But yeah, what has happened to Charles Leclerc then in the Ferrari? Well, here we are then, riding on board with Charles Leclerc as he makes his way down in towards the first corner here. Is he just going to drop it on the throttle by himself as he tries to make his way through? Yes, he is. Way too heavy on the loud pedal there. And Hamilton and one of the Alpine... Hamilton's just going to cut across the corner. He doesn't care. But Charles Leclerc in the wars early on. Well, yeah, Charles Leclerc there just with a bit of a spin down at turn 1. But this opens up a potentially interesting strategy for us. Could we go really long and potentially get these tyres to the end of the afternoon? 20 laps on a set of full wets, though, is going to be a very tall order. Unfortunately, didn't make any gains under that red flag like I'd hoped we might have. But Alonso with a flyer as we have to go round Alex Albon off the second start here in the Italian GP. Lance Stroll will say thank you very much down my outside, but we've got to make sure we don't get half spun. Well, this time round, down at turn 1. They're 3 abreast as we make our way in towards the first corner. So we've just got to try and find an avenue. We're hoping Yuki Tsunoda is going to find that avenue around the outside. There is, look at this, just trying to inch our way past Bottas and Logan Sargent there off of the restart. And Valtteri, he'd actually done a good job in the early laps of this GP, but is now set to struggle a little bit more there as around the outside of Yuki Tsunoda we go. Luckily, we have figured out the brake bias there and able to go the long way around the AlphaTauri off the restart. Still looks like it's Sergio Perez that leads this way at the front of the field, but yeah, Daniel Ricciardo now up into that all-important 10th place there as Charles Leclerc. He's kind of been given a bit of a lifeline, but it's not what you want to do at your home GP, for the team at least. Already, seemingly by the end of the opening lap there off the restart, in no man's land. Almost a 2-second gap to Magnussen in front, 2.5 to Logan Sargent behind. Why have I ever got no one to race immediately? And now we're kind of running into the problem that all of the smaller teams faced in the Real Life 2023 campaign. We've now got 10 cars at the front of the field that are easily quicker than the rest of the pack as we pick up our first warning of the afternoon. So, and our second warning of the afternoon. Even if we can get past Ricciardo and Magnussen here as they... Oh, Kevin Magnussen getting showed the grass. We're still going to be in 11th there, and we're likely not going to be able to take much time out of those cars in front there. But the Dane and the Australian side by side out of the final corner. Will we be able to find a way to potentially capitalise on this? As that AlphaTauri does not look slow down the straights around this venue at the moment. Side by side, they still go as we make our way down in towards turn 1. And like I said, we've got to just try and find a way to potentially capitalise on this. Magnussen will try to have a look around the outside out of turn 2. And we will try and follow him through there, practically pushing the Haas along at the moment. There might just have been a tiny bit of contact with his rear diffuser there, as Daniel Ricciardo's not given up on it yet, to the outside of the Dane. And Magnussen there just able to break a couple of car lengths later and get the car stopped. Can we get the power down in towards the first of the Lesmos? Around the outside we'll go. This is scary stuff, especially on Kevin Magnussen, but he gives me the room.
They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
Oh, that's a shame for Danny Rick. But round the outside, it's another double overtake. And we are now basically up to best of the rest. But I'm not convinced we'll be able to get much more than this. Do we have the pace to match those Alpines? Oh, there we go. That's a penalty. Just lock the rears again. Pierre Gasly then, one of the first cars to blink in this GP. Into the pits he goes at the end of lap 17 here. But I'm looking at the strategy. I think, to be honest, we're not going to score points if I don't gamble it.
Still looking good.
We've kind of got nothing to lose at this stage of the afternoon. There is a little bit wild through the first couple of corners. Not expecting, you know, to leapfrog our way right towards the front of the field or anything like that. But yeah, if we got a late race safety car or anything that could give us a fighting chance towards the end of this race, we kind of got to try and take it. So we're going to risk it again, just like we did at Silverstone. Oh, here comes Fernando Alonso, though, to my outside. The Aston Martin has had good race pace today. Just hasn't been able to showcase it locked into battles further down the order. We're not going to make it easy, though, for Fernando. He could be another car that we're battling with towards the end of this GP. As looks like, yeah, both Mercedes opting to stay out there then. Verstappen all over my gearbox as well. So we were, in fact, an entire pit stop behind Sergio Perez. As are we going to see some Red Bull battles? Oh, no, we're not. Down into the first corner. Verstappen just braking earlier than I was expecting there. We get a warning for a collision. We got yellow flags. That's a safety car. That's not so bad then. So yeah, we've been given a lifeline then and a bit of a free stop as Leclerc out now of the GP. So yeah, Leclerc now out, and it was a good job we tried to extend this stint just a little bit longer, because that has given us an opportunity late in the afternoon. Let's take a look then again with Charles Leclerc. Oh my, he's just got into the back of the McLaren. What is that? He's seen the McLaren heading out of the pit lane here. This has got to be a very, very odd glitch inside F123. He just goes, nah, I'm having him. And, well, yeah, you certainly can't blame the McLaren for that one, but a massive shunt for Charles Leclerc. He was lucky it didn't do more damage, and of course that happened simultaneously with me going into the back of Verstappen there, so too much debris on the circuit. Leclerc with terminal damage in the process, lucky to get the car out of the way. But what a nightmare weekend it's been to forget for our championship leader. Well, I could have been tempted to try and gamble it on the way into the pit lane onto a set of intermediates. But yeah, Verstappen heading into the pit lane as well then. So that's quite interesting from the Dutchman. Clearly not confident there, as both Mercedes are going to be trying to go to the end of this GP. Verstappen is staying on those full wet tyres. So it's not like he's trying to throw caution to the wind late on in the day. But I don't think we're really going to gain anything. I don't think we're really going to lose anything either here at this stage of the afternoon. We might lose one spot. Come on, go to, yeah, Magnussen. But are we going to stay out ahead of Logan Sargent in his Williams? We've got to be racing on pit exit. No, we're not. We have lost out a little bit in all of this. Well, I think we've got, yeah, 5 laps to go then of this GP. And it's about to go green flag racing once again. But I think at the moment, it's just going to be about survival here. Everyone on pretty fresh tyres. Mercedes at the front, though. I don't think they've boxed yet. So they are trying to go aggressive towards the end of this GP. And hoping that they can hang on at the front. But as we make our way through the final corner then, those Mercs surely are going to be going in flying formation. Can they try and snooker away another victory, as both Ferrari and Red Bull seem to have tripped up today with their number ones? Big run though on Valtteri Bottas as we make our way at the final corner. Will we be able to challenge the Alfa Romeo back in towards the first turn? We might try and have a look down the inside. Down the inside of Max as well. Can we make it 3? No, not quite confident enough to go for it past Logan Sargent. Oh, as he bobbles. No, Logan, what are you doing? Just bobbles over the curbs there and leaves me with nowhere to go. Well, it doesn't seem like the wing damage is going to cost me too much late on in the days. We've got more yellow flags. That another car up the road, potentially going slowly. That's Lando Norris now, who might be falling to the wayside in this GP. And Lando Norris, yep, looks to be a mechanical failure, as the McLaren for the second time in about 4 races is going to go up in smoke there. Probably not going to see... It's a red flag again! What on earth is happening here? Late in the day, 2 red flags and a safety car here at Monza. Well, I don't often see proper thunderstorm conditions inside F123, but that's what the game's predicting with just 3 laps to go here at the Temple of Speed. Could we perform a bit of a miracle here and try and get ourselves into the points despite our penalty? 5 red lights. And it's going to be lights out and away we go for the 3rd time today. Looks like everyone in front all pretty clean and tidy on the starts. We'll try and get to the inside. Hamilton's gone nowhere as we make our way back down in towards someone. What is Lewis doing? Tries to cut completely across me in towards the first corner. Of course I get a warning for that, as we'll get an illegal overtake on the Mercedes. We'll go straight back around the outside though on the exit of turn 1. But what is this? Here at Monza, just so much carnage, so much chaos. Logan Sargent now is up into the point as well in his Williams, but maybe now there is an opportunity to score a couple of points. Stroll, from the back of the grid pretty much, is up to 4th here. Oh, we've got more yellows out. Is that Aaron Barnes now going slowly at the back of the field? We can't get another red flag or another safety car late in the day. This is just absolute chaos. This is why you can't race at Monza in the rain in these modern cars. It's now for Romeo. It's Valtteri Bottas now. Out of the GP with just a couple of laps to go here from Monza. But yeah, we've got to try and see if we can build up a gap over Alonso and Sargent here. I can't help but feel we're not going to have much to defend from Lewis Hamilton. But can we pull out 1.7 seconds in the space of 2 laps here as the Merc will go back down the inside there? Clearly I'm not on Lewis's Christmas card list for that block down at turn 1 on the opening lap there. But you can see on the traction zone, we get the gap over 2 seconds to the cars behind. We will try and sail back around the outside of the Mercedes here. There is an opportunity, seemingly out of nowhere, for us to score our 2nd points of the season, as we're not going to give it up against Lewis. We'll dive back down the inside, and we will make the position our own. Oh, we got someone else off in the gravel. It's Carlos Sainz! Both Ferraris in the wars here. And suddenly now we're up to P5 then of the GP. Carlos Sainz is going to try and get back on the road there, and I think is going to cause an absolute pile-up further behind. And this suddenly gives us a huge lifeline with 1 lap to go here at Monza. I have never seen this much late drama inside F123, pretty much from the moment I said how the top runners look to be clean away. Everything since then has kicked off here. I believe we've got a 3-second gap over Sargent, but of course we won't know until we reach the checkered flag, and this could be absolutely pivotal in the Constructors' Championship, of course, in that battle between ourselves, Williams, and AlphaTauri here. Hamilton 1.5 seconds back now, so surely we have got 3 seconds over the Williams car despite the penalty, and I probably, to be honest, wouldn't have defended as hard from Lewis had I not had the penalty here. I think we would have just accepted and picked up the handful of points we possibly could. A little bit gutted that, of course, those 2 warnings in one go made the difference. Fuel's not going to be a concern, though, but Lancia at their home GP, we couldn't have asked for a much crazier of a race. Ferrari have had a nightmare. Alfa Romeo haven't delivered either. AlphaTauri, neither car is in the points. It is going to be Italy's new Formula 1 team that looks like they're going to score here. As making our way down in towards the Scarish came for the final time. They're almost locked the rears up again. But surely we have got the gap over that Williams car. Surely it is going to be another P7 there. They're still battling up the road. George Russell under pressure from Oscar Piastri as they make their way out of the final chicane. Perez is going to lead this thing from the front to win here at the Temple of Speed. I believe Piastri has come through for P2, but it's going to be P7 for ourselves.
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix, an historic race and an achievement they can be immensely proud of. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on the track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
Let's move on to the constructors. And Red Bull take over as championship leaders. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there we go then. With Max Verstappen and both Ferraris not scoring, Sergio Perez able to walk away with a pretty easy victory, all things considered there. But yeah, 26 points going to the Mexican. That might just well bring him back in towards the title fight late on in the season there. Oscar Piastri beats out Russell. Stroll is probably going to be my driver of the day there, from 17th on the grid to 4th at the checkered flag there, beating out Hamilton and Fernando Alonso there. But myself, Sargent and Magnussen, all as well from outside the top 10, able to score some points here today there. A big weekend for ourselves, Williams and Haas as well. It does mean, though, in the championship, well, Charles Leclerc still with an 8-point lead there, but Sergio Perez now back just 27 points behind. We're still in P13. There are Sargent his first points for the campaign as it brings us ever closer to Albon and Pierre Gasly. And you can see, yeah, Esteban Ocon, 2 points still to his name this season. It has not been a good campaign there, as Magnussen also picks up his first points of the year there. Constructors-wise, though, yeah, we've now got double the points of AlphaTauri there and Alfa Romeo, of course, our two big rivals. Could we challenge Williams and Alpine in the second half of this year there? Red Bull now with a 6-point lead over Ferrari, so the momentum has swung once again in the way of the Austrian outfit. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching what turned into a pretty bonkers Italian GP here. It was all fairly calm throughout the first half of the GP, and then it just absolutely took off. We will be back, though, very, very soon as Formula One heads to Singapore. A massive thank you to all of my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters for their continued donations to help my work. These things go much further than I think a lot of you ever realise, and allow me to continue making content full-time here on YouTube. So if you want to support me from as little as £1 a month and be featured on all of these end clips, either click the join button next to the subscribe or head over to my Patreon. There's a link down in the description.